I only wear my glasses when I wear a hat. I don't know. Just kind of.
And I'm wearing my glasses and my hat.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what it is. I feel it's okay with my hat, but.
But when you're not wearing your when you're not wearing your hat, you're like,
makes me look even more dorky, I guess.
I guess. So what are you trying to say, JD? What are you doing?
I look dorky with glasses.
Oh, I see. Okay, so no judgment on my part. That's all right.
No. You're wearing a hat. It's fine.
Fair. Oh, this is true. This is true. Welcome back to episode 4. I think we're at.
Are we 4 already?
Episode 4.
Wow.
Of the Dudecast. I am Nick.
I'm JD.
And this is the Dudecast. So what's going on today? Anything news?
No, just busy doing work stuff and
getting
more
through
work and just kind of plowing through and
yeah.
That's just life. That's just dude life is,
Absolutely. Just
go to
putting
work,
your head down,
drink
getting
beers
to it.
and call it a day.
Yeah, oddly enough, I know that we were talking a little bit about maybe doing some remote podcasting for this season. I tried to reach out a couple local craft breweries that have like tap rooms to say, hey, we've got this podcast, we'd love to come film. Not interested in any sponsorship. I'm not looking for money.
Yeah.
We'll just come and buy beer. We're not asking for any special treatment, just permission to come and film at the brewery. And nobody's got back to me.
Yeah, I feel that those are lost opportunities. Was it emails or
emails, Twitters, like a couple of them have like social accounts.
Yeah.
So I tried to reach out via social accounts, and then one of them was an email account as well. 2 of them I didn't hear back from at all, and one I did kind of hear from back, and they were like, yeah, sure, that sounds interesting. What dates were you thinking of?
Yeah.
And just sent, okay, well, kind of here's what we're thinking about, whatever, and then just nada. And I'm not going to mention them because I'm not into shaming people that aren't interested in working with us or whatever.
Right.
But I just feel like major lost opportunity.
I feel it's missed opportunity for a lot of people. In the sense that maybe they want to maybe they're still contemplating, maybe they haven't done the research. It's but communication is a huge thing, a huge part of that. If it was me, if it was conversely, if somebody reached out and said, hey, I'm interested in doing this at your business or including you, what do you think? And I would either say right off the hop, and I've done this, I've said, no, I'm not really interested in doing that, or it sounds like a good idea, let me know what the plan is and we'll
work
move forward
out.
Or, just give me some time. Do you have anything that you can show me, that you've done comparably? And,
exactly.
We'll take it from there, and then again, at some point, maybe say, no, I'm not really interested in that, or move forward. I just, feel that, especially in this day and age, that communication should be much, much better than it actually is a lot of the time. I think that if you put your business on social media, you need to make a concerted effort that you are good at social media, because that can sink you as well.
Yeah, 100%.
If people are reaching out and talking to you and, you're not even at the very least acknowledging that, I think you're doing social media wrong, in my opinion.
And I have to think at some point, because 2 of them were a little bit bigger than the other. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, maybe they have a social media manager, which equals, a 22-year-old fresh out of university, that's their job, to maintain the Twitter and the Facebook and that kind of stuff. So they can't make those decisions, so they have to pass it along. But there should be that communication again, saying, well, hey, cool, I'm just the social media updater, I'll pass the info along and we'll get back to you, kind of thing. Right?
Absolutely. And you don't have to do that publicly. You can do that through direct message.
Course. Like that's the direct message.
Kind of my point too, is that, it's, especially if that's your job, is totally social media and that's all you do all day long, you'd have to be on that. At the very least, it's like, hey guys, saw your tweet, I'm going to pass it on to the appropriate people. They may or may not get back to you, but
exactly. And that's what it is, and it's,
appreciate that you're interested in X brand.
Yeah. X brand and what we do. Thanks for your support or whatever. We're not interested and we'll move on or whatever. And that would be fine. Like I have no qualms about people saying no, because people say no to me all the time about all sorts of stuff. But the, hey, yeah, it sounds interesting or whatever, and then nothing. I'm just like, oh, it's really lame, dudes. Like,
Yeah.
you know, or not dudes, I guess, really. You know, I think the interesting part, though, is that you're saying that it's the communication that has to be there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would be really quick to go, again, back to that social media person, whoever's doing it. And I feel like there's this huge shift right now to hire millennials to do these types of jobs.
Yeah.
Because they've grown up with computers or they've grown up with smartphones, so therefore they should be really good at this stuff. But I feel like and this is kind of where I'm thinking about right now. But anyway, so like millennials don't exist. I think generations are a bunch of bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
There are definitely distinct groups of people that have come along that sort of, you know, my parents, their parents. Sure, those generations exist. It's a physical, you can't deny it.
Yeah.
But baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, Gen Z, like it's all a bunch of bullshit. It's marketing. It's a journalist actually came up.
Yeah.
With those terms to sell papers or magazines at the time in the 70s. I remember it was a huge thing. But I think it gets back to just people not being great at stuff in general.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's a millennial thing. You know?
Unless you're using millennial terms as a slight, which I think I tend to use it as. If I call you a millennial, it's kind of a slight.
Well, I think we all do a little bit. Like we have a tendency to jump on a bandwagon, right? To say, oh, well, that's a millennial thing or whatever. I've been reading and listening to a lot of, I don't know if you'd call them motivational speakers or like business leader speakers. Recently, there's the one I'm kind of really hot on right now is Simon Sinek. I don't know if you've ever seen him. So he's got the most watched TED Talk of all time. Something like 52 million downloads or something. Like it's ridiculous. And it's about maybe not 10 years old, but kind of coming up on that time. And so he's got this whole thing about start with why. Give the long story short is that most businesses, most people, most marketing is built to tell you what the product is and what the product does and then says, please buy it. But if you look at the most iconic brands, think Apple, think that's the biggest one that comes to mind. But like the ones that are really, really successful at marketing an image or a brand feeling, they actually go the other way. They start with why. You know, if you look at Apple, like the famous 1982 commercial, it was like, you know, fight back against Big Brother. Computers are going to give people the power to control their own creativity, right? So like that's their why, is we want to give people the ability to create and do things on their own. And we believe everybody, like look at the Think Different campaign, right?
Yeah.
Not once during that campaign did they mention making computers. So that whole idea of why we do what we do is central to their marketing and to their message. And then the what and the how, it doesn't really even matter that much, because if people connect with you on that why, that like sort of that heart feel level, everything else kind of falls into place. So fast forward, 6-7 years after his TED Talk blows up, he's now very famous. He's written 3 best-selling books. And the latest video of his is that just broke out is my answer to the millennial problem. Because as business leaders, as like a motivational business speaker, he talks about leadership a lot. And people consistently ask him, well, how do we manage millennials? We're having this really difficult time managing millennials. And he's broken it down, and he kind of gives these like 5 reasons why millennials are problematic and kind of how to deal with them better. I'm not going to go into that whole thing. And I think it's valid points that he's making. But my big problem is that there's really no difference. Like the whole millennial problem, I think, is just a modern take on, back in my day, we used to walk uphill to school,
right,
in the snow.
Yeah.
It's just old people not liking young people.
Yeah. It's true. It's very true.
And so I feel like really young people in general are not good at communicating, are not good at socializing, don't take rejection well, want everything now, and a myriad of other things that come with not having life experience.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so that's not a new phenomena. The only thing that is new, and I will admit it's interesting, is the induction of this device, the smartphone device. But I would say that it's not exclusive to that young group of people. It's like, you have a smartphone, I have a smartphone. 90% of the people I see driving in their car, texting on their phone, are like our age or older. So like, it's not a millennial problem. It's just a person problem and a technology problem. Right? Like, how do we get people off of their phones and focusing on their tasks more?
Right.
I mean, I don't have the answer, but I don't think blaming youth or blaming millennials is really the correct way to go about it.
No, I don't think so as well. It's, if we go back to the example, the 22-year-old running the social media account for the corporation, and that's who they have, and they're just not communicating. The problem there, to me as well, is not necessarily, there's obviously an issue with communication. However, there's also a supervisory and ownership problem, because you're not saying, hey, I went to check up on my Twitter account and I noticed that there's all these tweets and you don't answer or like any of them.
Yeah.
You're not directing the person.
Well, no, exactly.
All you do is you retweet funny memes. And that might connect to people on a level, which I'm sure it does.
A humor level or whatever, yeah.
But, we need to communicate with our customers. We need to build, brand identity. We need to build a relationship with a client base. That's what's important,
right?
To me as a business owner.
Exactly.
And funny memes are great. And, every once in a while that's fine. But I really need you to communicate that, in looking through this, we miss these opportunities.
Yeah. Well, and that's so again, you look at it and it's, call it whatever problem you want to call it. But I think the biggest problem is management or business owners not knowing actually how to manage a business and manage their people.
Yeah. And to be honest, it doesn't matter how old a person is or, how young they are. There are a lot of terrible business owners.
Oh, tons.
There are a lot of people that are bad at business.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that have owned businesses and failed, and for very good reasons. Like, typically when you fail at business, there's one person to blame.
Yeah.
When things aren't going well, I'm the person to blame,
right.
for my own business. That's the hot and cold of it. There's nobody else for me to blame.
No.
I can blame a lot of things, or I can, say, things are changing and I'm not adapting well to it. But, at a certain point, that's it. But, the point of that is, and we were kind of joking about it beforehand, because for people that know me very well know that I'm a photographer. Yeah. That is changing dramatically, right?
That entire landscape, right?
And, eventually, to be honest, it's going to be gone, to a degree. Right. It's definitely evolving and changing, and
sure.
But it's fitting in and making that work as a business that I have to adapt to.
Right.
For as long as I want to keep on kind of slogging away, or at some point just kind of say I'm done.
Well, it's that old business adage, right? Or I don't even know if it comes from business per se, but adapt or die.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Absolutely. And it's valid. It's valid.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if I fail to adapt, that's not a millennial's fault.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
They may have contributed to the problem that I'm experiencing, but
could be.
It's not their fault.
Yeah.
That I was unable to adapt or create a product that, trumped whatever issue I come across.
Right, exactly.
So.
Well, and you're not hiring any millennials to work for you or do things for you.
No, I gave up on hiring people a long time ago. That ship sailed,
Well, and that's part of it too, right? Running a single proprietary or single proprietorship type business. It's like, it's me, myself, and me.
Yeah.
Like, that's it, right? So you are the one that pays the bills, that does the work, that finds the work, that markets your work, and all of it, right? And I think there's a certain amount of joy that probably comes along with that, because you get to do everything yourself and then reap all the rewards.
There's limitations to that as well, though.
Right.
And I always tell people that. I've worked with people and I've had people work for me. It's you can only do so much yourself.
Right.
And at a certain point you spread yourself too thin, and at a certain point you're not effective in doing what you should be doing,
right? Because
you're doing all these other things that you're not necessarily good at.
Sure.
Maybe you're not a great marketer, maybe you're not a great website developer, maybe you're not a good, ad campaign guy. There's a whole plethora of things that you might not be good at, and sometimes hiring people to do those jobs is a good thing. But again, it comes down to some people are good at business and some people aren't. Some people are great at wearing multiple hats.
Yep.
Some people, it's like, I can bake the best cupcakes in the world. And everybody loves them, but they'll never be successful because they're just a bad business person.
Well, and they have no idea how to sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it happens to be, right? Whether it's cupcakes or whatever. I have a friend years ago that it's funny that you mentioned that, because she wanted to start a cupcake baking business. Yeah, and I was like, cool. Like, this was kind of at the dawn of Internet 2.0, right? If you want to call it, like probably 2002, 2003, something like this. And I was like, well, you can start a website with GoDaddy. You can just post ads on Kijiji and like Craigslist and whatever. We can do old school classified ads. How do you want to do this? It's super simple to set this up and start taking orders. And I even built her a website. Like, I mean, I'm not a great web designer, but like you can use, even at that time, there were like drag and drop. Website building tools, right? So that's what I used. I drag and drop business tools, order now, And I was like, there you go. You're all set up. Now you just have to like get the word out. And her big thing was like, well, I'm really good at like giving people my cupcakes. They love it and they're tasty, but I don't know how to sell them. I'm like, just ask for money.
Yeah. But you know what? The selling part is always the hard part.
Sure.
Asking people for money and, making money doing things seems to be the biggest hurdle that every business has.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody, I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
I don't care what you make. I don't care, what service you provide. Yeah. If you are willing to give it away for free, there is somebody willing to take it.
Right.
The problem with that is, at the end of the day, you're no further ahead.
Yeah.
And, I always say that to people. It's like, you need to charge, you need to do something. There's different ways to get value out of your service.
Sure,
even if you go back to like an old school medieval, like barter.
Yeah. I do this for you.
I will shovel your walks if you give me 3 apples, like
whatever it happens to be.
It's whatever. You need apples, they need their shovel walk. It's exchange of services, whatever. Right. Yep. There needs to be more of that. I think a lot of people now, and if you're, starting out, and this is, I guess, millennial advice, if you're a millennial listening to
just advice for young people, let's put it that way.
For young business owners, getting out there and getting exposure. Exposure maybe for 2 seconds is great, but really just start trading shit.
Yeah.
And start getting something for something, Yeah. I don't even care if you don't even need it. Sometimes, like,
well, and that,
if somebody's like, I'll give you, a flat of bricks because I'm a bricklayer and you're doing photos for me, you got the space to take it, do it, because you can sell bricks.
You can sell bricks. Absolutely.
Somebody needs
them.
Bricks. Yeah. You might not need them, or if you're building a patio, that might be great. But
sure.
Even if you sell them at a discounted rate, from wholesale or from retail, you're still probably going to be ahead over doing it for free.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
It's a different way.
Yeah,
I feel this is a very weird kind of Gary Vaynerchuk talk at this point.
Sure,
right?
Yeah,
because he's if you watch his stuff, and I watch a lot of his stuff, he's like a garage sale like nut.
Oh yeah,
same thing. Like he doesn't care. It's like, I'll buy it for $5, I'll sell it for $10. I don't care. I made $5.
Yep.
He'll grind it out like that,
Yeah. There is a fantastic business in doing that. Just as a side hustle or whatever, if you want. But there's they even made a show of it. There's a guy named Jeff something out in Vancouver. What the heck is the name of the show? I can't remember. But he buys like wholesale clearouts.
Yeah.
So like he finds stores that are going out of business, and he'll go in and be like, "What are you selling?" And they're like, "Oh, rubber boots and duckies and tutus." He's like, "Cool, I'll give you $5,000 for the entire store." "Oh, well, it's worth 15." He's like, "Great, I'll give you 4."
Yeah.
They're going out of business. They need to get rid of their stock. So he buys it super low, brings it to his warehouse, flips it.
Yeah, and usually when they're at that point, they're dead in the water anyways, and usually it's somebody just like, we're just trying to sell it because we're getting pennies on the dollar of an investment, or they have creditors after them.
Yeah, they're trying to get the most out of it as possible.
They can. So I mean,
but there's great money to be made in that specific industry. But getting back to your point is, take whatever, because you can flip it, or then trade that thing for another service. Bread, food, you like beer, trade it for beer, like whatever.
Yeah.
At least you're not giving your.
At least when you go to move a friend's house, so a lot of times it's like, well, if you're buying pizza and beer, I'll help you move. Yeah. It's still an exchange. You're still getting something. Yeah. You're still ahead. Yeah. I mean, you're still probably doing it because you're friends, and nobody really likes to actually help anybody move. But at the end of the day, you're still further ahead than you're, let's say, a junior photographer, and somebody wants a video for their business, or headshots, or whatever they want, and you're just, I'll do it for free. Yeah. Does you no good. No.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing about Simon and kind of his thing, that whole why, right? You can take it a bazillion different ways, right? But if you're starting with that why, that kernel, it makes everything else so easy in terms of sales, because people aren't actually buying a product. They're buying you. They're buying the story. They're buying your heart, if you want to call it that. And what happens is, people that get you align with your reason, your why, and you don't have to sell them anything. They're going to give you their money because they're like, I believe in Nick. I believe in JD. I like what he does. I like what he stands for. Therefore, I'm going to hire him. And you don't even have to be the best, the most popular, the biggest, the most professional, right? There could be others that are better at whatever it is than you are. But if people align with you, they're going to hire you. That's why networking is so important, and meeting people and being a good person and talking and getting to know people, because people hire people they get along with, people they know, people they trust. Yeah. Right. And what is that other than selling yourself? Yeah. To people that want to buy. So I it's weird. I don't know exactly why this kind of popped into my head just as we were sitting here, but it was one of those things. I'm like, it's so important. I think I wish I had known this 25 years ago. It would have made life far easier.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's, I think that's a valid point. I mean, there's a good reason to go, to a barber and talk with your barber and sit there and, that sort of barbershop culture, all those. For sure. There's a good reason to, be on a volleyball team or a basketball team or whatever sport you choose to participate in, and, go and meet different people all the time. It's those, again, it's connections, and it's just knowing people. Yeah. And a lot of times, if you're part of a club or, like I said, group or organization, if one person in that organization knows what you do, and there's somebody in that organization that you have never talked to, don't know, a lot of times if they know that person, they say, oh yeah, I've got this coming up and I'm looking for this service. Yeah. Hey, so-and-so provides this service. Yeah. And that's all it takes. It's that simple. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times people are just lazy to look. That's the other thing,
100%. You're gonna take a recommendation from a friend or at least an acquaintance, again, from the same sports team or whatever it is that a group that you're involved in, whatever. You're gonna take a recommendation from that person versus some random, even an internet listing. Yeah. Right? Think about it. You walk down the street and a stranger says to you, hey, you should go see the new Marvel movie. Okay, crazy guy. Have a good day. But your best friend says, oh, the new Marvel movie's amazing. Okay, now I got to go see it. Yeah. Right? Absolutely. Yeah. Source of information. It makes a huge difference. And even if that person doesn't know you because they got that recommendation, and they, at least on the periphery, because they've seen you a couple times, then of course now it goes even more like, oh, okay, yeah, no, totally, he's cool. I'm going to hire that guy or girl. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's, you don't even have to be good, because your friend could say, go see Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. It's the best movie I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. You're probably not going to agree. Probably not. But you probably go see it. I'd go see it if you told me to go see it because it was the best movie ever. I'd be like, All right. Well, I should probably go watch this.
Yeah.
And yeah,
afterwards you might question what I think is good in this world, but
absolutely.
But the truth is that that's how that referral goes. You still get that referral. You don't have to be the best of the best. I mean, that helps. That definitely helps.
Well, and that's a whole other way around it too. Is like just be the absolute best photographer, the best electronics repair guy, the absolute best painter, or whatever it happens to be. But I mean, those are the exceptions, not the rule. Most of us are journeymen. Yeah. We put in our time, we hack away, we just keep grinding at it every day to get better at our craft, of course. But, and there's a certain level. Like you have to get at least to a certain level. Like you're not going to go and just be a complete amateur and charge somebody money for it. Although there are those people out there too.
There are those people, and I can say from tattooing, sometimes there's a lot of blind trust.
Yeah, the girl I think she's in San Francisco. She does like crappy, like wavy stick figure tattoos, and she calls them like ugly art or ugly tattoos. I can't remember her name or the shop, but apparently, I don't know, up to a couple years ago anyway, it was like this huge trend, and she had like a waiting list that was like 2 years long to get a tattoo from this girl, because it was like some celebrity got it, and then everybody was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But I'm looking at that going, well, that's a permanent tattoo on your body, and it's ugly as shit. Like I wouldn't want that. Yeah. But flavor of the month. Yeah. Right? There's something to be said for that. Being in the right place at the right time and just getting that.
Yeah, lightning strikes every once in a while. Whatever you're doing, somebody may love it, and it may just kind of blow up, and that's good for you.
Good for you. Lucky. Cool. Take advantage of it
while it lasts.
And then, but diversify and or continue to get better at that thing, or figure out, okay, well, this is only going to take me for the next 6 months or a year or whatever, and then I got to do something else. Yeah. Right?
Figure where your pivot is before it ends.
Yeah. Well, on that note, our pivot, I think, is going to be the end of this episode.
There you go.
Join us more on the next episode of the Dudecast, where we talk about Nick's upcoming pivot. I've been Nick.
I'm JD.
We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.